Alright, good. Hold on a second. Good afternoon, everyone. I thank you for joining me today for this very special event. It's the first event of its kind in the USC. It is the official decommissioning ceremony of the Axolotl Void Exploration Facility. This this facility has This facility has helped us tremendously throughout our expansion into the void and beyond. And I hope we could give it a good laying to rest, look through some old memories, have a little tour, and yeah, make sure it has a respectful and fun little decommissioning. Afterwards, we will be giving it a glow up, and it is going to be nearly unrecognizable from all the new stuff I'm going to implement into it. Alright, so first off, since thankfully I don't really have a troubling group of spectators, I'm going to do a little tour, so I'm going to let y'all out the box. Just hop into the CDF car, but just promise me don't leave the group, or don't leave the car group, whatever you want to call it. Hop on in. I'll just teleport them in. No click. Just give them a little nudge inside. This is legal kidnapping. I just accidentally put them in the driver's seat. In you go. There we go. Alright, so first off, I'm actually going to start at a part of the facility not many people see, and a part I actually rarely have shown. There we go. So this was the first ever part of Axolotl that was built. This is our assembly place. As you can see, we got our two large vehicle assembly buildings, with the famous one with the flag on the side. They're not really too special. There's nothing inside of them, but at one point, this one did have vans inside of them, but I decided to move the van storage elsewhere. I thought about making an entrance road that connects here, but I just ultimately decided not to. If y'all remember this small little building, this building was special. It originally had a countdown timer on top, which premiered during the Test SRB1, which was the first ever CVUP event. Laid out on the road, we have our two mobile launch platforms, also known as just the VSCs, or Vehicle Service Crawlers, presented by Grande Machine Works. If you look in the Grande Machine Works logo, you can actually see the original version of the Vehicle Service Crawler. This design has changed over time with renovations to accompany new rockets and stuff, brand new launch clamps and all. Honestly, I'm very happy with it, and they will probably be reused in the new version of Axolotl. When I got turned down my graphics, I'm lagging a little. There we go. So over here we have just what I call the employee building. It houses all of our cars, the cool old rollout vehicle, and just stuff for pre-launch stuff like the astronauts suits, CDF suits, and all that. There was originally going to be an office and briefing room, but we never got around to it. And over here, I honestly feel bad for this structure. This was the testing facility control tower, which was only used twice and never again. I feel really bad for it. It only got used just those 2 times. Other than that, never looked at it ever again. Now over here is our engine / other testing facility. There was originally 3 engine test stands, but the last one got replaced with what would have become a tank testing stand and a crew capsule testing stand. If y'all remember during the what was it called? The Vanguard splashdown test. Vanguard was put on a little forklift pallet somewhere around here. Again, this was another very underutilized part of the facility, only seeing use around 3 times, and that's it. Moving on, we have, or let me get there first. Moving on, we have, these are actually relatively new, being introduced around, I forgot, I think CRM3 or the launch right before it. So that was just added because I was tired of having people floating in the air during launches. And this has to be one of my favorite buildings in the entire facility. This was the, I'm going to, well, so this building is known as the Astronaut Preparation Complex. It's probably one of the best looking buildings in there with a full interior. It has carpet and my good old favorite checkerboard pattern. And it has photos of many memories throughout our program. Some of our favorite launches. I'm fairly sure there was going to be more added to this building, but it never came around. Suit up room had the cool privacy glass where it was just blacked out and all. And yeah, that was the crew preparation complex, or astronaut preparation complex. Then over there through this little road, it was just, it's pretty obvious what it is where we parked the LSCs. At first we always just had 2 rescue LSCs on standby, but later on when they were re-equipped, I decided to add the 1 military LSC, just for good keeping. Never know when you need it. Spotlight came in handy during, what was the launch? Civilian 1. Now we're coming up on the infamous gate. I hate this thing with a passion. I tried re-scripting it once to go faster, but it broke, so I just reverted it and never touched it again. But I absolutely hate it and love it at the same time. Also, it was decided that I decided to add in a fence after the shenanigans that ensued during original first ever Leaper launch, which was when that hacker took the van and kidnapped Breadman and all that. Coming up, I'm pretty sure this is Pad B. I always get them mixed up. But yeah, Pad B, it is the only of the two pads to have a proper launch tower with QD arms and everything. Nothing too special. Personally, Pad A is my favorite for obvious reasons. And yeah. Now coming up on my most favorite part of the entire facility, Pad A. It looks better when there's a LSC over here, but you know, we don't have them right now. And probably one of the greatest structures in this place, the vehicle access crawler. This is the second variant. I missed the first one dearly, but plans didn't go too well with it and blah blah blah. I spent an entire dang night designing this. The dot pattern was actually inspired by Amtrak's Acela, the livery on it. I remember I was watching a documentary about it, saw it, and I'm like, yep, that's going to be his design. Then over here, oops. I don't think our cars work in a very high part game. Also, I need to add engine sounds. This is the orbital launch control tower, the most used control tower out the bunch. This thing has seen a lot of action, a couple of changes. For example, when we added in the, what was it called? Manual rocket control system, which unfortunately was only used once and never again, mainly because our pilot didn't know how to go to orbit properly. I'm not talking about you, Spooky. I'm talking about, we already know who. Alright, that's about it. That's the entire facility. Other than if you zoom all the way out and look directly to the left, you see that weird block. That is the recovery zone. It takes about, or it is around 52,000 studs away, which, hold on, let me do some quick calculations right quick. For scaling, I have made it where one Roblox stud equals 1 foot. Also, if you need 1 stud for scale, your arm, your Roblox arm, if you have a block arm, the width of it is a 1x1 stud. So yeah, 52,000 divided by, what's the number? 5,265, I think. Oh, well, 1 or 2. So it's around 10. So the recovery zone is around 10 miles away, USC scale. Alright, that was the tour. I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to throw y'all into the box again. Alright, I'm just gonna wait a second before we begin closing remarks. Alright, so Axolotl Void Exploration Center has to be one of my... I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm reading off the script. I'm actually improvising this and typing it down at the same time. It's one of my favorite builds of all time. Well, not because... Damn it. Hold on. Alright, sorry about that. Axolotl Void Exploration Facility has to... Or excuse me, Exploration Center. I always get those mixed up. Anyway, this has to be one of my favorite builds of all time. Not because it looks pretty and all that, not gonna lie, compared to some others it's relatively hideous, but mostly because of the heart and soul that I've put into it and the things we've gotten out of it. But just look at this photo, for example. This is not a 5-star group. It's good for what we had, but compared to others it was ugly. But it was ours. And it was unique. And it was just our achievement. We did it. We made it to space. This facility houses so many freaking memories. Great memories. So many great launches. I cannot tell y'all how much fun I've had in this game running launches with y'all. Reminds me of Steamify back from middle school, but we actually have more freedom and can make it into space. Some of my, or actually no, not some of my, all of my favorite, absolute favorite launches from this facility are behind me. There are a couple more that I didn't add, and I'll talk about those. But let's just talk about these real quick. So, this photo right here may not be the first, oops, what the hell did I just do? Oops, there we go. May not have been the first UFC VEP event, from what I remember it was our third, but it was an absolutely great one. This launch, if y'all remember, was the first ever launch of a Leaper rocket, specifically the Leap ER version, experimental rocket. Y'all remember also I also kind of lied. I said it had a boiler payload, but inside the fairings there was actually nothing. Yes, those who attended this launch in person probably remember how crappy it was. The absolute shenanigans that went down with, Breadman getting kidnapped by an exploiter. I'm pretty sure we had some more problems with boundary breaking. I'm pretty sure the first server opening, people started stealing vehicles and going everywhere. And the rocket, the scripting was horrendous, pulling a full 45 degrees, only 2 meters off the launch pad. Very, very bootleg, but that's just the USC way. And honestly, that was a very proud moment of this program. Moving on, this is another, or forget when I said this one is my favorite. This is my favorite launch of all time. Vanguard 1, the first USC man in the void. So, if y'all don't remember this launch, it was the premiere of the Vanguard crew capsule, which I had basically made entirely the night before the launch. And it was the first time a person would ever fly on a Leaper rocket. Other than a few safety concerns, mainly that being a human flying on a rocket that has only flown once, and on a crew capsule that has never flown and was made within 3 hours, it went astonishingly well, other than the few hiccups before launch, but the actual flight and recovery couldn't have been better, and still hasn't been matched to this day. And honestly, look at that speech. That's a good ass speech right there. If y'all haven't watched the video on this, I highly recommend it. Compared to now, the editing may be shitty, but the memories are there, and the music is banger. Now this one was just a goofy launch. It was that time we sent Breadman into space on a bench. That was honestly just great. No real reason to, other than we just wanted to. And no, we were not making a ripoff of Starman. Alright, other two honorable mentions that weren't put here. First off, Civilian 1, which consisted of a crew of Pat and Aeon. That launch was probably one of our smoothest crew launches of all time. Everyone was relatively on time. There was no problems with the scripting whatsoever, or at least none that I remember. The job got done, everyone came back, and it only took around an hour or so. And we also had the funny guitar noises in the background, so that was a good one. Then finally, CRM3. Now, CRM3 was a absolutely technological marvel for the USC. It was the first time a person spent time in more than a few hours in space, and it was the first. Actually, never mind. It wasn't the first time we did a spacewalk, but we did 2 spacewalks within the same session, and it had the most tasks to do, which was repair the satellite, or not repair the satellite. It was to activate DVD sat. Then we also implemented the airlock onto Polaris space station. And there was also a spacewalk conducted where we transferred Felix from the space station to Vanguard. Very great launch. Went mostly flawlessly other than some timing concerns, but other than that, very great launch. Almost everything worked as intended. 10 out of 10. And these are only just a few memories of this place. From what I know, this place has probably, I'm guessing this number, but I'd say around 20 or more launches have been conducted in this place. And that's honestly great. Now, I don't really know much to ramble about now, memories wise, so I'm just going to be going on about what is going to be coming forward for this facility. So, as you know, we are decommissioning the facility. However, that will only be temporary, as the place will be getting a total revamp. This means I'm basically going to delete everything. I might save a few things, but other than that, everything will be deleted, and I'm going to start from scratch. Rescripting most things, rebuilding most things to make it up to date with USC graphics and all that. State of the art scripting, design, all that. But also, another thing, or real quick, I should state that it is going to retain its original basic design. However, there are going to be many things added, such as such as another pair of launch pads for our upcoming new rocket classes. I'm planning on making a heavy lift rocket and possibly a very small lift rocket / kind of just scud missile sort of thing. It's mainly going to be primarily used for military testing. Yeah. And there's also going to be a runway added. Also, real quick, I just want to speak about the kind of lore / explanation of all this. OG members might remember that originally we were set in a alternate reality from ours, which was called the Dimensional In-Between, which had many weird properties and all that, which was a way to explain how everything was very goofy. Well, eventually, in order to make a couple partnerships, I decided to get rid of it and base us in the real world. Well, after a lot of thinking, I started to miss the old void, and I eventually got the mindset of, fuck it, this is my group. I can do whatever I want with it. So, I've decided that we are bringing the void back entirely. Now, the reality is still going to play a major part in the USC, but it's going to not be as big as the void, and it's going to be relatively more of a side thing. Basically, whoever enters the USC rarely make it out. Alright, so that's all of the closing remarks I have, or closing speech, going through memories, all that, going through what's coming next. Now, for the flag lowering. Just give me a second, let me pull up our lowering anthem. Just give me a minute. Alrighty. Everyone please rise and face the national flag for its lowering. God bless the USC. Anyway. Alrighty. Well, that concludes our decommissioning ceremony. Now, CVEP is going to halt operations for the time being until the new facility is created. In the meantime, I'll be keeping y'all well updated on the whereabouts, or not whereabouts, are my progress in building the entire place. I thank all of you for joining me. For this decommissioning ceremony. Have a nice day, and Fortis Stella Fortismi.